Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bible Talk Time. Have you ever been on a team? Maybe you played on a baseball team or a soccer team. With teamwork, you can do really good things. Or maybe you've been on a team at school. You've done a group project in the classroom. With teamwork, you can do some really good work. Well, what does teamwork have to do with the things that I have here on my table? A tissue, salt, a toilet paper roll, and a stick. Well, let's find out. A tissue is not very strong, is it? You can tear it very easily. It's not strong at all. But what if I put the tissue on the end of a toilet paper roll? I've got one right here that I've put on with a rubber band. Will that tissue be stronger now that it's on a toilet paper roll? Well, let's see. I'll use my stick and see if I can tear the tissue this way. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I can easily tear the tissue. What if I put one little grain of salt inside that toilet paper roll? Will that grain of salt make my tissue stronger? Let's see. Let's use my stick. There's a grain of salt. Can't see it because it's so little. Tissue, toilet paper roll. Let's see. No. Still, it was easy for me to break through. But what if I take a toilet paper roll and a tissue and I pour a lot of salt inside? It's just regular old table salt, just salt that you buy at the grocery store. Toilet paper roll that you have in your bathroom, and a Kleenex. I'm going to pour that so that it's about maybe 3/4 of the way full. See? Now let's see if that salt will make it hard to tear the tissue. I'll take my stick and I'll push it in. You guys, I am really pushing. I'm not kidding. I am pushing that stick as hard as I can, and it's not going through. It's not breaking the tissue. How about if I pound it? I'm telling you, you can't break through to break the tissue. I wish you were here to try this. Do it at home. Well, the reason that I can't break that tissue is because all of these particles of salt are working as a team. With all of those particles working as a team, then it pressed against the walls of my tissue, my toilet paper roll, and it didn't let the stick get down there to break the tissue. With teamwork, you can do great things. Well, particles of salt can act as a team and make my tissue unbreakable. But still, what does that have to do with the Bible? We've been talking about Joseph, and his life story is found in Genesis. Today we're going to read from Genesis chapter 41, near the end of the chapter. So read along with me. Let's start in Genesis 41 and verse 46. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Entered the service of Pharaoh? What? I thought he was a Hebrew. I thought he had been sold as a slave. I thought he'd been put in jail. Well, remember, God had helped Joseph to explain to Pharaoh what was about to happen. He explained to Pharaoh, there are going to be 7 years when food grows very plentifully in Egypt. There will be bumper crops. There will be more food than what you even need. But after that, there will be 7 years of famine. Now, Joseph is all dressed up here because Pharaoh made him the ruler of Egypt. Pharaoh said, "There's no one wiser than you, Joseph. God is telling you what's going to happen. So I'm going to put you in charge of saving the food and saving the kingdom. And that's just what happened. But you know, Joseph didn't do this himself. He did it with teamwork. Joseph was the team leader. Well, of course, we know God was the real team leader, helping Joseph out. But let's see what Joseph was able to accomplish in Egypt. Keep reading. Look in verse 47. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced plentifully, and Joseph collected food in those 7 years of abundance and stored it in cities. Okay, so Joseph had to work with a really good team of farmers to plant enough food that there would be food for all of Egypt. Growing wheat is a big process. It takes someone to plant the seeds, someone to prepare the ground, someone to take care of the crop when it's growing. And then it takes 8 months for it to get ripe enough to harvest. Here is a painting from an Egyptian wall, an ancient Egyptian wall. Remember how we said that Egyptians drew pictures instead of writing words? Well, they drew pictures of their daily life. And here's a picture of a team of farmers. He's planting the seeds. He's harvesting. Joseph led a team. I can't even imagine how many farmers it took to grow crops all over Egypt. But Joseph led the team. And then he collected that food. Well, where'd he put it? During those 7 years when all of that food was growing, Joseph had a team of workers that was building granaries or granaries. There were storage buildings that would store the food. And here is a picture of some real granaries from ancient Egypt. These are buildings that they built, and they would put the grain inside those windows and fill the whole building full of grain. Now, I don't know if these real granaries were built in Joseph's time, but they are good examples of what they might have looked like. And again, that required a real team of workers. Some builders would have to carry the mud. Some builders would pour the mud to make the bricks. Some builders would measure it and straighten the lines. It took a team. And remember, the Bible says that this took place all over Egypt. They built granaries in all the cities. I don't even know how many that would be. It took a team. And Joseph was a good team leader. Well, once they got those granaries built, then another team brought the food to be stored. Look at this picture. You can see that it took a lot of people to bring that food, a lot of people to carry those sacks, and a lot of people to fill those granaries. Here's a real picture again. This is a real painting on an ancient Egyptian wall of the people harvesting the food and carrying it to be stored. Joseph was a good leader because God was helping him. In fact, with the teamwork, they accomplished such great things. Well, let's read about it in the Bible. It says, in each city, he put food grown in the fields surrounding it and stored up huge quantities of grain, so much grain that it was like the sands of the sea. Eventually, they started collecting so much that it says they stopped keeping records. They stopped counting because it was beyond measure. So much food was being grown. So much food was being stored for 7 years that they couldn't even count it anymore. But what happened next? Well, the Bible says, I have to tell you something else that happened. During those years of plenty of bumper crops, something wonderful also happened to Joseph. He got married to Asenath, and they had 2 sons. The first son they named Manasseh. That means to forget my troubles. Joseph said, Manasseh has been born to me. I love him. I'm happy. And I've forgotten my troubles. What a blessing. Then they had another son, and they named him Ephraim. Ephraim means fruitful. Joseph said, God has made me fruitful in this land of my suffering. Joseph wasn't suffering anymore, was he? He was on God's team, and God had helped him. And now he has a family. He's accomplishing great work in Egypt, storing food for everyone. Well, the Bible says that after those 7 years of plenty came 7 years of drought. 7 years when it didn't rain, the food didn't grow. Not only did this happen in Egypt, but it happened in the countrysides and in the nations around Egypt. Remember that Joseph's family lived back in the land of Canaan? Well, the famine even happened in Canaan. There was not enough food for people to eat. So what did those Egyptians do? Well, they went to Pharaoh and they said, we don't have food. Nothing is growing anymore. And Pharaoh said, you go see Joseph. Go see Joseph and he'll tell you what to do. And he did. Joseph led the team of workers, and they distributed food to all of the Egyptians that came. They even began to give food to the people from other countries. Next week, we'll find out what happened when Joseph's family back in Canaan didn't have food. You know, with teamwork, Joseph accomplished great things, right? He led a team of growers. He led a team of workers. He led a team of builders. And he led a team that was willing to come and get food. Who was the real leader of the team? God. God had taken care of Joseph, and he was taking care of the people. It makes me want to be on God's team, because I know that just like he took care of Joseph, God will take care of me. I want to be on the Lord's team. See you in the next Bible Talk time.